On one fateful October night, I have half agreed to join 5 other people to form 2 crews on a off-road road trip rally with a junk car through Romania. The event was called Gumbalkan. The rules were simple. Get a car under 1000 euros, make it as off-road and funky as possible, go through around 50 checkpoints, and most importantly, have fun. Getting a solid car under this price point was going to be a little bit tricky because there would be repairs to be done most likely. But the good thing is that we had like 10 months before the start of the event since the registration. Fast forward 3 weeks before the start of the race. We are buying the first car. It's 2006 Ford Focus. It's sort of red or orange hatchback with 1.6 liter engine, which had like 85 kilowatts, which is like around 115 horsepower. The car was a little bit rusty, some minor issues, the check engine light was on, and it was probably some issue with the catalytic converter, which contributes little to the overall function of the car and the engine. But in theory the emissions get a little bit worse, which wouldn't be too much of an issue if so the roadworthiness certificate was expired. That means we would have to go through the emission control again, and that could be problematic. Other than that, the car was pretty fine, except maybe the clutch, which was like picking up sort of high, but it was replaced sort of recently, so that's probably nothing to worry about. The original price was around like, I don't know, 1000 euros, but we haggled it down to around 500 euros. So we had the first car, which was like sort of able to drive around. Like we shouldn't really like go abroad with the car with the certificate expired. So that's definitely something we will have to deal with in the upcoming days. So, there was a lightning, so I will have to sit this one out for a while, and hopefully we will be able to get the car home, because this is slightly crazy. Well. And a few days later we were getting a second car. It was also a 2006 Ford Focus, but this time it was grey and the long estate or combi version, how we call it in these parts. The engine was slightly weaker, but it was also 1.6 liter engine, but this one had like 74 kilowatts, which is around 100 horsepower. The condition of this one was slightly worse, with the rust and everything, and most importantly the car wouldn't even start. Like the ignition cables were chewed through and the rib belt was busted, which means there was no like power steering, cooling was off, and the battery wasn't recharging, so that means the battery was dead. And so we sort of replaced the battery on the spot from the car we came in. So we drove it around a little bit without the rib belt, which means we were sort of overheating the engine a little bit, but nothing major. And the car, even with these issues, drove sort of okay. So we were like on the edge whether we should buy it. Like if it wasn't so close to the start of the race, we would definitely skip on this one because there were so many issues to deal with. So we have bought another Focus for the trip, but as you can probably hear, there's like a huge storm right now. Let me just show you. Now you should be able to see behind, and it's just pouring down like crazy. So at this point we had like 2 cars, which was good. 2 crews, 2 cars, but neither of them was like fit for roads. One would start and drive, but didn't have like valid certificate of roadworthiness, and the second one had a certificate but wouldn't start. We had around only 18 days at this point to do something about the cars, but there were a few more issues. One is that I was going away for about a week and a half, and our main car guy Lukas was also going away, and our second car guy Michael was also away. So our grand total was 5 days left before the start of the race to do something about the cars, and we also had to go to work for those 5 days, at least a little bit. So the time wasn't exactly in our favor in this department.
No to je to už správně.
No, chudá.
Tak jsou souřadnice toho komplexu podzemního.
So, orange hatchback. We need to replace power steering, replace half axis, put on a new steering wheel to enable cruise control, front suspension, back suspension, some light camper van makeover so we can sleep in the car, custom roof rack and filters, oil change, stronger light bulbs and other small fixes, so like 8 or 9 things to be done. About the long grey Focus, replace battery, replace the ripped belt and also fix all the things that might have like busted when the belt busted. Also new steering wheel to enable cruise control, front suspension, back suspension, fix some minor issues with the exhaust. Also there was a slight electrical boogie in the car that the lights sometimes didn't turn on, so that would probably suck on the road. So we will have to look into that. There was the completely rusted fender on the car and we have to do something about that because it was like sort of falling apart. So that's not good. Also custom roof rack and also do something about the filters, oil, light bulbs and so on. So about 10 things to do on the grey Focus. Well, to do all this in 5 days while going to work? Well, fuck. So because I'm not as skilled as the others in the car repairs, I will be making the camper van makeover of the Focus, of the short one, of the hatchback version. So the first step will be to remove most of the back seats, so we have a little bit more space. It should give us about 180 centimeters when pulled all the way to the front. So it's not exactly luxury sleeping, but it should be plenty enough to sleep in 2 people. So let's get to it. So this is the space we have here. It's sort of tight on the head, but my feet are inside the car, which is good. So this is the bird's eye view of the whole thing, and here is what we will need to put somewhere around here. So this is the backseat support we will use for the bed. This little wiener here goes in the middle of the car where the floor is sort of raised. And what remains to be done is to cut these corners a little bit, so it fits like towards this section which is sort of cut out. And also I will need to cut the corners on the second one, because when you put the front seats into the drivable position, this is too long, so I will try to cut these corners a little bit so it fits and we won't have to like put this out every time we want to drive. So that's that. Platník jako novej.
Kola jsou důležitý, to máš pravdu. Ferrari pit stop. OK, takže máme na pravý přední nám to udělalo další 3 cm. A tady taky. Jo, počkej, ono si to nesedne, to už takhle vysoko. Já jsem furt čekal, až to půjde dolů z těch kost nebo z něčeho vlastně a pane takhle vysoko.
No, to je už lepší, ne? Konečně. Konečně nějaký výsledek, ne?
So basically we have gained almost like 10 centimeters on the front side of the car by using new suspension and some oversized tires, which are originally for something like Lada Niva or something like that. So what remains is to raise the backside similar to the front side, and it should be pretty capable off-road. But we will see, in a few days. It's like less than 48 hours before we leave, so that should be cool. So today's plan was to remove the suspension from the back of the car and mount new springs, which would raise the back of the car by a few centimeters. But the issue is that due to corrosion, these screws are completely merged with the rest of the chassis here and here. Basically there's a screw and it's corroded through, it's still structurally sound, but if we tried to remove it, there's 90% chance that it's going to break. So we definitely don't have time to do this. So the plan B is to buy a lot of tennis balls and push them through the spring.
Nějak nebyl rychlej, člověče.
Nebyl, no.
Je ten olej vykyčet.
Asi to buď mít.
No, tak to není.
Ne tolik. Jo, trošku. Krape to kouzí. So it's like 25 or 26 hours before we leave, and we have just replaced transmission half axis on the orange Focus. And now I will try to put the spare tires on the roof, and I have found these pretty nice planks which should be strong enough to hold the tire in place, and these U's which should be good enough to screw the plank on top of the roof rack, or however is that called in English.
Ale to bude trošku pískat, no. Uvidíme ve 130. Nahoru dávat, ne? A vždycky tam přidávat další. Když ho až nahoru, tak
So the theory says that if you jam a few tennis balls in your suspension spring, you should gain at least few centimeters height. But we will probably lose several tennis balls on the way to Romania. At least the local kids will be happy.
Let's go.
Okay, let's put it down and let's see how many remain inside. Okay. They are pretty squeezed. Let me get a notebook with the measurements where we measured how high the car is. 2,5 centimetru. So we had like 72 centimeters yesterday night, and the tennis ball added like 2.5 centimeters, and guys will try to put another tennis ball inside. This is nuts. So we have like 7 tennis ball in each suspension spring on the back side.
True story, bro. Dobrý, ne?
Tak možná jeden by se tam vešel.
There is some electrical malfunction in the grey one, in the grey Focus, and we basically have no idea what is going on. But some of the lights are not working, and we are getting some error reading from the main unit. But we have no idea what is going on. Like the car starts and you can drive it without any issues. But there are some light malfunctions with the lights. Other than that, the steering wheel is missing an airbag, and there are more parts which we are not going to use probably. There is a very nice tool set. Very nice indeed. So it's like an hour or two before we are supposed to leave, and the power steering in the orange is still offline and basically disassembled for now. So it will be quite interesting. Yeah, we wanted to leave between 5 and 6 p.m. and it's already 7 p.m. and I'm not even back in Prague. I should be back in Prague in like 20 minutes. The replacement of the power steering took roughly twice the time than we expected. So this is probably the official start of the trip. The cars are finished. We are delayed by about 3 or 4 hours, but we are on our way. So let's hit the road, it seems. Máme kitku? Proč máme kitku? Co to je za kitku? Ta má přežít cestu s náma? To je hustý. The rear lights are not working, and one of the 3 brake lights is not working. So when you are driving in the dark, it's sort of sketchy. So we are staying behind the gray Focus. So we are working basically as the rear lights.
Venku to vypadá o něco menší.
Říkám, že jsme došli za zajisté